Stops, launches deep. Jalen Guyton, he's got it! Touchdown Chargers! What a throw!
Hey everyone, bringing you a Week 14 matchup between Steve and Raul. This one didn't really mean as much to Raul, but meant a lot here to Steve potentially. It turned out that he would have been in whether he won or lost, but he didn't know that going in and was able to take care of business, taking care of Raul in rather convincing fashion. So let's jump in, see how Steve was able to wrap up his playoff spot. Justin Herbert had a huge game, 30.9 points, had 275 yards, 3 touchdowns. Also added in 19 yards on the ground. So he had a very nice game here in a critical spot here for Steve. Showed out big time. Raul had to go bottom of the barrel here at quarterback position, pulled out Taylor Heineke, who failed to get even 10 points, has since been placed on COVID, which is running rampant, by the way, in case you haven't noticed. Everybody's getting COVID here this week. But Heineke definitely a rough go. Couldn't really muster a whole lot of impact here for Raul's roster, I should say. Najee Harris, 23.9 points, having one of the better rookie seasons that I've seen in terms of just sheer volume of touches and getting points because of that. So he's definitely the bell cow back for the Steelers. Very Le'Veon Bell-esque in terms of the workload he's been getting. 20 carries, 94 yards, a touchdown, 3 catches, 10 yards, and another touchdown. So definitely a huge game for Najee. Najee by nature. Harris. Saquon Barkley, 17 points, had maybe his best game of the season. Had 64 yards, also had a touchdown, 31 yards receiving. So, maybe this is a sign he's getting fully healthy again. Maybe the Giants O-line's finally starting to block for him, but yeah, very nice game for him. I know you traded for him, Raul, so who knows? Maybe you might want to keep him next year if he keeps this up. David Montgomery, 11.1 points, 10 carries, 42 yards. So had 6 catches, 39 yards. I know you're hoping for a little bit more there. Steve, you're telling me you're wishing you maybe got into the end zone. Just didn't quite happen. But it was definitely enough for you to get the win, that's for sure. So this one might be the head scratcher of the week here, Raul. You played Kyle Juszczyk. I know the juice I hear from Niner faithful that he's just fantastic. He is probably the best lead blocker in the league. I won't dispute that. But fantasy, I don't know, man. That was definitely a questionable call. Looks like you probably could have moved up Freeman into the running back spot and maybe played a receiver from the waivers and put him in the flex instead. But I get going with your gut. I think you probably felt like, Elijah Mitchell's not playing. Maybe they'll give Kyle Juszczyk some goal line touches. Just didn't happen. But then again, you had nothing to lose this point, so why not go crazy, right, Raul? You took a gamble, it didn't pay off, but the juice was not loose, so to speak. Justin Jefferson was loose, had 7 catches on 15 targets, so he caught a little bit less than half of his targets and still had a huge game, 79 yards and a touchdown. Could have been for a lot more on Thursday Night Football, but it was enough for Steve, that's for sure. Stephon Diggs, 7 catches, 74 yards. Definitely, probably could have done a little bit more in terms of getting some touchdowns. It's just he's not really been the guy getting all the catches like he was last year. Josh Allen's definitely distributing it a lot more to guys like Dawson Knox and Sanders and Gabriel Davis, and so and Beasley's still in the mix there too. So it's definitely hard for Diggs to hit that high ceiling every week. But his floor is obviously very, very high. That's a pretty good game for most receivers. Jamison Crowder, 3 receptions, 19 yards. Didn't really put up the number like you're hoping for there, Steve. I know you kind of you couldn't really play Elijah Moore because of the injury he was sustained. Now since been on COVID after the IR designation, but Crowder just couldn't really pick up the slack for you there. Chase Claypool made a boneheaded decision in the game, but still put up a pretty solid stat line. 8 receptions, 93 yards. Definitely a lot of it came in garbage time, but hey, fantasy is all about garbage time, right? Sometimes. Jared Cook, had 7.8 points, caught 2 passes, 8 yards, and a touchdown. That's really all that's pretty much the bare minimum that you could be happy with for a tight end catching, 8 yards and a touchdown. That's actually not bad for a tight end. Receiver, but you're like, I don't know, man. But tight end, that's definitely fine. Tyler Conklin only had 3 points, caught both of his targets for 20 yards, not getting it done there. Russell Gage, 4 catches, 64 yards, modest production. Definitely could have, used a touchdown, of course, but he still got some decent action out there. Devontae Freeman still continued to be the lead back there for the Baltimore Ravens. 13 carries, 64 yards. Also caught all 5 of his targets for 8 yards. So about like 2 yards, less than 2 yards a catch. not great, but they had the backup quarterback in there, so he was just there to be the outlet, I guess. Chris Boswell only had 2 points in the kicking game, kind of disappointing. But Justin Tucker wasn't disappointing. Had 14 points in the kicking game. Continues to be one of the best kickers in the league for sure. Finally, the Seattle defense, 6 points, and the New Orleans Saints defense had 7. So pretty much a wash in that scenario. So Steve, congrats to you, man. You were able to wrap up the 4 seed here. Slide in here behind myself here playing in the wild card round here. So good luck to you, man. I think you're going up against Ruben this week. So, try to get that dub, try to survive in advance. I know it's kind of tough here, with the COVID and people being in and out. This is going to be tough for all of us, I think, in terms of playing this first round. About are people going to be able to play, right? Try to stock up that bench and hopefully have enough reserves to put out there. And Raul, man, tough L, dude. Rough into your season, but you're in the consolation bracket. Try to get that number 1 seed, man. See what happens. I think you've had the number 1 seed like 2 of the last 3 years. So you definitely have a nose for it. So so good luck to you in the consolation bracket. And